Hey guys, in 2020, I became the head of sales for one of the fastest growing agriculture platforms in Ghana. The platform is called Grow For Me, and essentially what we do is enable anyone from across the world to be able to grow crops from the comfort of their own home. You know, if you have little or no experience in agriculture or just basically don't have the time or expertise, we would essentially do it for you through sponsoring experienced farmers and smallholder farmers that would improve their livelihood through social impact work that we do. So you basically sit back, you let us do the work, and you can get a very, very good return through it as well, financially. So if you want to find out more, do stick around. I will tell you more about how I came about this great company. It's a testimony in itself, how I became the head of sales for the company. And you want to get involved in terms of investing into agriculture and getting some reasonably good financial returns from between 5 to 30%, then stick around and I'll be telling you more. So, welcome back to my channel, guys. I'm excited about this video because it's a testimony for me, and it's also something that I see has a lot of my social ethos at heart. The company that I now work for, called Grow For Me, is absolutely incredible. So, where does it all start? For as long as I remember, I've always wanted to explore the agricultural landscape, but never had the experience, never had the expertise, but always heard about farming, especially in Ghana, where agriculture makes up 90% of the food requirement. We are very big on fresh produce. And so I thought, again, there is a market here, there is a business there's business to be done in this area, but never quite known how to get into it. And through the beginning part of 2020, when the pandemic hit, I think that was amplified for me that agriculture was very important when it comes to the food value chain. Especially wherever you are in the world, when lockdown was announced, where did everyone go and run to? They ran to the supermarket to go and buy what? Tissue and food. Which shows you those are essential items, right? If you think about Maslow's theories of needs, at the bottom of the pyramid, I think I saw some memes going around where now they've actually placed Wi-Fi at the bottom. But let's just go back to the original Maslow's theories of needs where it says pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid, you see that food, water is one of the basic necessities in life. And food is primarily cultivated through agriculture. And what this did is it amplified the early part of the value chain, where everyone was running to the shops and trying to get food. But it just shows you that there was a requirement, everyone needed food. And the pandemic taught us that agriculture is something that, come rain or shine, is pandemic proof. So it's almost a very, I don't want to say surefire investment because I'm not here to sell, neither am I here to, I kind of am here to sell because I'm the head of sales, but against other forms of investment types or investment classes or asset types, it's almost like a safer one because of the pandemic that we've been through, which is one of the worst situations that you can be through, that has just amplified the demand on agriculture. And I remember there was also a statistic that was announced shortly after the pandemic, or the pandemic is still going on, but shortly after the peak in Ghana, where it released the GDP figures of Ghana, and we did notice, and I think this is the same for most economies around the world, where the GDP did shrink. However, agriculture started to actually proportionally had a greater proportion than it has previously had in terms of that GDP. So it just goes to show you that agriculture in a pandemic has blossomed, but also has, for me, just showed me that I needed to get into it somehow, but I had no idea how. It's pretty simple to buy farmland. But if you buy farmland, how are you going to cultivate that land, especially if it's virgin land? How are you going to that soil moisture content in that place is the right content for you to farm on? What are you going to farm? I mean, started speaking to people at the various agriculture bodies. They have various schemes that you can potentially plug into, but you're pretty much left alone. And you have no idea how to find a farmer, one that you can trust. You have no idea how to find the right crop to sell. Do you even have a market of who you're going to sell those crops to, how to store it, how to package it? I had no idea about all of that stuff, but I wanted to get into it. So I had all of this in the back of my mind, but what I tend to do is I never run ahead of what God wants to do. I always kind of sit back. When I've let my request known, I kind of sit back and see what God does. So knowing for some time, for some years now, that I wanted to get into agriculture, it was amplified when the pandemic hit. A guy had reached out to me, and he reached out to me to say that he'd heard that I had gone to Oxford. And if you see one of my previous videos, you will know that I studied my executive MBA at the University of Oxford. And I believe someone had connected him to me or something like that. I think we were in the same WhatsApp group at the time, and he can correct me, I'm sure. And he reached out to me and said, you know, he heard I'd gone to Oxford. He's also got into Oxford, and he got into London Business School and Columbia Business School, I think. And he was contemplating which one to go to. So he wanted my advice to give him some more insights in terms of how Said Business School, which is the business school for the University of Oxford, was. So I was in Ghana at the time, and he was in Ghana. He's actually normally based in the UK as well. And we decided to meet and, you know, speak about my experiences. And I just went on and on and on about my experiences at Oxford, which I'm more than happy to always share my experience because I absolutely loved it. But one of the things I actually said to him was, I mentioned a lot of, go back to my previous videos because you'll see the reasons why I went to Oxford, and I explained those to him. And I said to him, one of the reasons why I went to Oxford because I want to learn how to ask questions. And however, I did say something. I said, at this point in time, so this was just short of 2 years after graduating, and I was feeling a little bit, I don't want to say depressed because I hate that word and I bind it in Jesus' name, but I was a little bit disheartened because I didn't personally feel like I had gotten to where I needed to get to, given that I had invested a lot of time, finances into a program that I felt would have reaped a lot more by that time. This is why patience is key. So we got talking, we started speaking a lot about the business and the things that we do in Ghana, and we realized, he told me about the fact that he has an agricultural startup. He's one of the co-founders of a company that he started in Ghana with some other co-founders, and the company's called Grow For Me. And essentially, and he has a restaurant in Ghana, and that restaurant is called Native, and they're based in the airport residential area. And he also is one of the co-founders of the company Grow For Me. And we got talking, and he was telling me about the fact they grow on people's behalf. I was like, I'm thinking about getting into agriculture, but I have no idea how I'm going to do this. And you're telling me that you have a startup that basically is for people like me who wants to get into agriculture, wants to make the money from it, but doesn't have the expertise or ability to even get into it. And I was like, sign me up right now. That was literally what I said to him, sign me up right now. So we got talking, he told me more about the business model. I absolutely loved it. At the core of this business is about social impact. It's about making an impact in the communities of the farmers' lives, and also making sure that across the African continent, we're making food more accessible and affordable for everyone. So we got talking, and literally I signed up. I said, this is exactly what I wanted. I want to get my hands involved, not necessarily get my hands involved, but I want to put my money into agriculture somehow. And I literally signed up, became a customer of the company, and he didn't have to sell it to me. He doesn't have to sell it to me. But the company at the time when he was starting, or on the time when we were talking, didn't have a sales area because the company basically sells itself. So they actually were looking for a person to head sales area at the time. And as I became a customer, I have signed up multiple occasions. And I also started referring other people, just naturally, talking to other people about this opportunity, because that's what I do. I love if I find out about something in Ghana, just sharing it with other people. And then more and more people started to come on board, and people, they would ask them, how did you hear about it? And they'd be like, oh, through Lorraine. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I started, however, one of the things, actually, I know I'm backtracking here a bit, but when I signed up initially with just a few units, but I was more intrigued and wanted to spend more. So I started asking more and more and more questions. I'll ask every single question under the sun. So I'll message him and I'll say, literally at night, and he will respond. And I'll message him this question and he'll respond. And I'll message him this question, he'll respond. I'll message this question, he'll respond. I'll be like, what's the ROI? What crops can I invest in? How is it going to take me to get my money back? How's it going to work with the currency fluctuation? How's it going to work with this and that and that and that? And he answered all my questions for me. I was like, finally, me being able to answer the right questions is giving me answers that I require. So for me, it was a benefit. But what he realized also from my questions is that I had a passion and an interest for this. So one thing led to another, and they asked me if I wanted to join the team. And so I met with the CEO, I had an interview with the CEO. Actually, it wasn't even an interview. They basically just had a conversation with me and asked me if I wanted to join the team. Actually, they asked me what I wanted to call my role. And we worked together. We just basically, I am the head of sales. I'm heading up the sales and marketing function. And so basically that's how that came about. I'm trying to make this I've realized that my videos have been very, very long. I'm trying to keep this one short. And if you want to find out more, you can reach out to me. But essentially what Grow For Me are all about. Grow For Me is a crowdfunding and crowd farming platform. So what we do is we essentially grow on people's behalf. We pull together funding and we disperse it to multiple farms in Ghana of partner farmers that we work with. So we work with smallholder farmers, and by smallholder farmers, these are farmers that tend to have on average about 10 acres of land available. These are small scale farmers who require our support. So the core of what we do is all about social impact. These people may not be able to grow as much as they're able to grow now with support from Grow For Me. So we actually don't give them finances in terms of cash, rather we support them with the inputs they may require, whether it is through machinery or mechanisms and different things like that, fertilizers, etc. So we basically work with people. So you could be the person that's interested in investing, and I don't want to use the word investment because we are not an investment company. We operate as a crowdfunding and crowdfarming platform, and we work in a profit sharing model. So what would happen is that you would sponsor some units of crop, and you could sponsor crops from as little as $20 or £18. That's as little as you can invest. People ask me on average how much people spend. It depends on your budget. Someone yesterday, you could spend $10,000 if you wanted to. You can buy 10 units if you wanted to. You can buy 1 unit if you wanted to. You can buy 50,000 units if you wanted to. So it is completely up to you in terms of your budget. We have the capacity, but we've always been oversubscribed in all of the crops that we have done to date, especially in my tenure as head of sales. So on our website, if you go to growforme.com, you'll see the various crops that we have available, and you'll see the farming start date. So what that means is when the farmer will actually start for that particular crop. And once that farming start date has started, you can then we will then start growing that crop with the farmers. And once it reaches harvest period, we will then sell the crops. We will work with off-takers and we'll sell the crops, and then you would split the profit. The profit will be split between you as a sponsor, where you will get 50%, Grow For Me as a company get 15%, and the farmer themselves get 35%. So that's how the profit sharing model works. So once you have that profit share, you would essentially, at the end of the harvest, and once we've sold 3 weeks or so after we've sold the item, you'll get your payout and you'll get your principal amount. So your profits plus your principal amount will be your payout that you would get. There is much more to this. You can reach out to me and I'll give you more information. But really, as a company, we are under the regulation, or the regulatory body in Ghana is the Security and Exchange Commission. We are officially recognized by them, and we are an official registered broker on the Ghana Commodity Exchange. So we not only sell our crops through the Ghana Commodity Exchange, where we have access to live prices and are able to trade through that platform, but we're able to also trade on the open market as well to market sellers and restaurants and people that would like crops as well. We deal in high demand crops, so crops like maize. Soybean has been amazing. One of the crops that has the most craziest demand at the moment, especially because of the demand across the world for meat alternatives. So soy mint, soy milk, tofu, etc. is driving demand. Incredible to see. I went to go and visit the farms myself in Tamale, in the northern part of Ghana, which is about 10 hours outside of Accra. And I went to go and see them. These farmers love the fact that they're growing soybean. Why? Because it's a short cycle. By cycle, I mean the time you plant, the time that it harvested. It takes about 4 to 5 months, and the demand is crazy. Most farmers prefer growing soybeans. Why? Because they know it's going to sell. Soybean across the world, it's incredible to see how our habits abroad are driving what is being produced. Absolutely incredible. So this company is about changing the narrative when it comes to making food accessible across Africa. In 2050, for example, there's going to be 2.5 billion people across Africa. Currently today, there's 1.5 billion people in Africa. But right now we can't even feed all those 1.5 billion people. Why? Because there's a lack of investment in the agricultural space. This is what we fundamentally believe. And at our core, we are driven by the UN Sustainable Development Goals 1 and 2. And at our core, what we're seeing is that the farm, if you think about it, when you think about a farmer, how old do you think that farmer, how old do you typically think farmers are? You typically think of middle-aged to older age, right? Excuse me. So what's happening? Because of the lack of investment in this space, typically you'll find that farmers will enable their successors, their children, to work in the same field as them. However, we're tending to find that the successors are now going to do jobs in the city or office jobs, etc., because they feel like there's more money to be made. So we're starting to find that there's going to be this gap where, because of the lack of investment, our farmers are aging, they've got no one to pass it down to. So what we're going to see is that there's probably going to be less food produced if we are not plugging the gap and putting investment in there. So what we're trying to do is plug that gap and contribute to plugging in this gap across the African continent, so we make sure that by 2050, when there's going to be 2.6 billion people, that we'll be able to feed food, we're able to make food more accessible and affordable for all of them. So that's a core mission of what we do. But how we operate is also financial. So you're able to sponsor these crops. You're able to, let's say for example, you sponsor the 10,000 unit crop, or 10,000 units of a crop. You will sponsor that crop, the farmer will then grow for you. We as a company will then sell the items and we'll split the profits between those three parties in it. So you will get your 10,000 USD back. Did I say 10,000 USD or units? I was meant to say USD, so US dollars. And you get your 10,000 US dollars back plus the profits that you've made. So you'll get your returns. And our returns typically are between 5% up to 30% and potentially more. So you can get more. However, I want to be very clear, like with any form of investment, there are always risks involved. So we cannot guarantee you your return on your investment. But what we try and do is we put in as many mitigating factors as possible. And do reach out to me, I can tell you more about what we do. I mean, the mitigating factors we do is we work with farmers that only have minimum 3 years experience growing a particular crop on a particular land. A lot of people reach out to us and say, can you grow this? Can you use my virgin land that I have in the middle of nowhere? And both answers currently are no. We do that because we are using other people's money. We want to mitigate as much risk as possible. And if we grow on land that we do not know, so your land is virgin land, never been used before, how are we going to know the soil moisture content that land is good enough to grow the crops, number one. Number two, we want to work with farmers that have experience growing that particular crop on that particular land. So this is what we do. We vet our farmers. We make sure our farmers work with cooperatives so that there's accountability. And we also use drone and satellite imagery as well so that you at home can keep track and monitor your farm and the progress of your farm as well. We also have insurance that covers the principal amount in the event of flood or drought. So we have various mechanisms that we've put in place to mitigate as much risk. And the sheer fact that we are a crowd farming platform means that we don't just sponsor one place. We are dispersing the funds across different farmers. And that again, in different areas in that region, that again is a way of us mitigating as much risk as possible. So we are a company that is fast growing at the moment in Ghana. It is very easy to get on board if you're interested in sponsoring some farms. We work with particular crops that we are able to sell, so high demand crops only. So at this moment in time, if you reach out to me and say you've got this virgin land, can we grow this? Can we grow that? Can we grow that? And it's not already listed on our website. We can't do those just yet, but potentially in the future. So do keep onto our mailing list, and so go onto our website. And also there is a referral program. So if you are coming to my video and you're hearing about growth through me, then when you sign up, please use my referral code, which is Lorraine, so Lorraine. And you yourself, once you become a Grow For Me sponsor, you can also refer other people. I don't get this, but you will get this bonus. Is that every person that sponsors through you, you will get a 5 Garden City reward. So please do let me know if you've got any questions. My email address is lorraine@growforme.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer that. So thank you for checking out this video. Do stick around for my next video. Do like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, please do get in touch if you're interested in Grow For Me. It's an amazing, amazing company across all platforms. Grow For Me Africa. It is a startup company, but growing extremely, extremely fast. We are partners of the Minister of Food and Agriculture, so you go and visit them and check, and find out and get verified that they know us. Go to the Securities and Exchange Commission and go and find out. Very often a lot of companies that operate in investment do not have haven't gone through the due diligence processes that we have gone through. The fact that you can go onto the Ghana Commodity Exchange website, search for registered brokers, and type in Grow For Me, you'll find us. So all of these things are the things we've put in place to make sure that we mitigate risk, and we are making sure that we deliver as well and are doing everything above board. I have personally visited the farms myself. I personally am a customer myself, so I know, and I've been through that side of the company as well. So yeah, so hopefully I'll get to see you guys on the Grow For Me platform and the community, and changing this narrative around how we can make sure that we as an African continent can sustain ourselves through agriculture as well. So thank you for watching this video, and hopefully see you in the next one.